Howdy, y'all, and welcome to another episode of A Contagious Smile, Unstoppable, with the lovely, ever sexy,
Whatever.
red-headed vixen over yonder, Victoria Cure, author and publisher
Good.
of over 50 books, who has been awarded multiple awards for her
Then you're
trauma
not listening to us from my resume.
academy. You didn't even, I lost that thought,
Yep.
but
So what do you want to talk about tonight, dear, since we're having a conflict of
Dear.
discussion topics?
dearest. Well, I had a question today. How do you teach responsibility?
How do I personally teach responsibility?
I become more responsible.
By taking the bull by horns and talking about things that you need to talk about. That shows responsibility. It shows that it's growth, that you look at things, discuss things, analyze it, go through and figure out how it hurt you so that you prepare yourself not to go through that anguish again. That's a good way. And then you see the responsibility of, okay, well, these are things that I need to be doing, and I don't need to be procrastinating and keep putting them off and pushing them back and suppressing it. And then you take care of that responsibility. And then once it's done, you have a sense of satisfaction because you've completed something that even subconsciously you know you needed to do, but for some reason that you just don't want to.
Okay, I heard you, but you went off totally left field.
No, I
where
didn't.
was going.
Okay,
You're a teenager,
sure.
okay? You have sex with your teenager boyfriend,
Well, that wouldn't have been me.
right? You're now pregnant. You're now due. Teenage boy is now a father. Teenage girl is now a mother.
Okay.
How do you teach them responsibility?
Well, they should be like parenting classes that they take. There should be responsibilities that they take. Hopefully, they had decent role models to help them and they have
If not,
a
if they're
support system.
having sex, unprotected sex at teenage, you know,
Well, yes, they probably might have had unprotected sex, but they also could have had protected sex. And a condom doesn't always,
doesn't always.
and neither does always birth control. Yes, it protects for the most part, but it doesn't always. And it could have been one of those moments too. I mean, there's a whole bunch of mitigating factors involved in that.
So you, with a child, you have to grow up very quickly if you have a baby, as a young adult. Okay,
No, Faith is not pregnant.
that's right, y'all. But she does have a brand new puppy, which is similar to a baby.
Okay.
Okay, in the aspect that she has more responsibility, but she is definitely not pregnant, y'all. So, what brought that up?
Because I don't want people to listen and say, oh my God, is Faith pregnant? Because we're talking about a teenager and we have one. So is she pregnant? No. No, she's not.
No.
But to be responsible, you need to discuss things that bother you and not let them suppress. Because one of the things about responsibility is say you have things you have to do and you're not getting them done. It could be because your mind is elsewhere thinking about things that you haven't faced yet and haven't wanted to talk about. And it could be slowing you down from doing the things that you absolutely need to be doing.
So there are times that I want to be irresponsible, right? And just think about me, right? But as a parent, as a husband, you don't get that luxury all the time because there's certain things you do on a scheduled basis. Okay. You wake up, you take care of the dogs, you do chores around the house, you go to work, you come home, you cook dinner, you clean up, you spend time with the family, and then you go to bed. Right. And I understand from a young adult perspective, being handed the responsibility of, hey, I've now got a kid. I can't do what I want.
But most teenagers, most, not all, but most at that age are more upset that they're not out with their friends than they are the responsibilities that are
Right.
in front of them.
Right.
because some people care more about upsetting others than themselves.
So, yeah, we've noticed a little bit of change in our daughter take care of her new puppy. It does,
She also has a lot on her mind that
it
she
does
hasn't
take away,
talked about.
from her creative writing. She's writing so many different books. I cannot literally keep track of them, but I think she has probably over 100 in her phone that she started on different stories. So yeah, she's learning responsibility with the puppy. To me, it's a good thing. I know it seems like it sucks at times because we have to do a lot of cleaning up after the puppy. But my wife wants to broach a subject here that I'm
You
not,
do not.
I'm not at my sense of timing. It's just not right for me. We will talk about it. It involves our
Don't
current,
say our because I don't
current
claim
family
him.
members,
I don't claim him.
and we will discuss this at length.
But it's not the fact that you won't talk about it. It's the fact that, like, our listeners come to us for advice. And even when I'm counseling and supporting my clients, the longer they procrastinate and hold off on talking about what really matters, it eats at them emotionally, physically, psychologically. It tears them down. It takes them away from other happinesses in their life. It's kind of like the analogy that I use that you have one heart and you can fill it up with the what ifs all day long and the negativity and the drama that has been brought to us, or you could fill it up with let's talk about it and then be done with it and put it away and not have to think about that anymore. And then I have all that vacancy for more happiness and laughter and love and memories and all of that. And there really, to me, isn't too much of a choice on that. And I am that protective person. Like, I think one of the sweetest things, and people are going to say, what, that you said to me the other day was like, I would never, I mean, okay, I have to explain this. You said, I never want to go to war against you. And you said that because why? What was your reason for that?
Because you are a sneaky.
No, don't say that. I'm not that because that could be misconstrued as conniving and
Okay,
deceitful, and that I'm not.
thinking of the woods. I'm thinking of a jungle environment. Okay, a sneaky green beret assassin, booby trap laying heifer that you will never see coming, and all her traps are laid well in advance.
So do you say that I'm deceitful?
No, I'm saying
Because
that
here's the thing:
I'm
when
saying that
you
you
mess,
prepare for war. You prepare.
right?
Okay.
But the thing is that first of all, anybody who's ever had a child with any kind of medical needs or special needs, because the term I don't like it, but we are methodical to a fault, like ridiculous. Like there were so many times when Faith was a baby and I would go in the hospital and I would be presenting her medical history and they'd say, where are you a doctor? Or, the dates, I could tell you the dates of every procedure and every medication and, all of that. And it's because it's the livelihood of my heart. It's my child. And so with that, and then growing up, one of the things that anybody who's ever unfortunately been through any type of abuse goes through, and you should know this too, is that your word is all you have. All you have is your word. And so often, your abuser, your partner, your parent, whoever it is, makes you out to be the bad person because an abuser, a narcissist, a controlling prick, all they do is they put it off on you because they cannot accept responsibility. They can't accept accountability for anything. And so they put their shortcomings on you so that they feel better about themselves. They take their insecurities and push them onto you to make themselves feel better. So it's like the saying, misery loves company. It's the same thing. So I am this person after literally decades and decades of different types of abuse, not just one type. And it doesn't matter because I always say one kick, one hit is still one too many, but physical, emotional, psychological, financial, they're all unacceptable and should never happen. And when you've gone through that and all you have is your word, you become this person that is like a legal library. You become this person that takes and keeps evidence beyond. Like when I went through the physical abuse, I kept having people ask me, why do I have so much proof? And I kept saying, because nobody's doing anything. Why do you have all of this documentation? Why do you have the medical records that coincide with the photographs, that coincide with the witness statements, that coincide with the affidavits? Like, why do you have all this? And I kept saying, because nobody will help me. What is it going to take for you to see that what I'm saying is true? I can't do this to myself. I can't strangle myself. I don't have male thumbprints on the middle of my throat. I couldn't do that and then have handprints around the sides of my throat. And I was even told I strangled myself, which you take your own hands and put them around your throat. You cannot do it. It's physically impossible to do it. And to have handprints and bruises in photographs. So they twist it around to make, why did you do it? Why did you make him mad? Why couldn't you just do what he asked for? Why is it that that son of a bitch gets to get away with everything? All of these abusers do. It's, you made him unhappy. Couldn't you have just made him happier? Couldn't you have just done this or that or whatever? You could be Mary freaking Poppins and have the cleanest home and the perfect dinner and everything under the sun, and somebody cuts that prick off on the way home, or his side piece doesn't want to see him that night, or his boss said something he delivered at work wasn't up to par, or whatever it is. He's still going to come back to that house and take it out on you. That's what he's going to do. And that's the cycle of a sociopath, a psycho, a narcissist, an abuser. I mean, it's just like, to me, somebody who harms another person, there's a whole bunch of different titles for it. But at the end of the day, like if you're going to a restaurant and you're getting a hamburger, what kind of condiments are you going to put on it? Are you going to put on, mustard? Are you going to put on mayonnaise? Are you going to put on ketchup? Are you going to put on relish? Are you going to put on, mayo? I mean, at the end of the day, that's all condiments. That's all extras. And the hamburger, the meat of it is the abuse. So the topic of the burger is just the formality of it, right? And so these assholes are hurting and abusing people. And the difference is how? Is it verbal? Is it psychological? Is it physical? Is it financial? Is it this? Is it that? But at the end of the day, it's still, how high up is that hamburger, right? It's all about all the toppings that are just kept layering on top of it. And that is the thing is, and I think that's kind of advantageous that I said that, because I don't eat meat and that's kind of a crappy metaphor. But when somebody attacks or hurts someone I love, and you know this, even because when you and I broke up 20 years ago and somebody wanted to come after you, I went hell and high water to protect you. And we weren't even together, just like you did for me when we went to court. You stood by me, stood with me. And I have learned over the years, there's only not even a handful of people I can name that is still living that we can trust and know unconditionally has our six without question.
That's usually how the black sheep is.
And the thing is that someone who knows they're the black sheep, knows they're a scapegoat, goes through cycles of recognition. Where do they just realize now that they're the black sheep? Are they, okay, now I need to tell my story. Now I'm really pissed and I want to be heard. I need to be heard because this isn't fair that they're walking around with their head out of their ass and they're walking around talking about me and I've done nothing wrong. I mean, there's all these different cycles that go with being the black sheep, right? We are also the ones that they are worried about the most because we hold the truth, right? We are not bought. We are not, bribed. It's attempted, and it has been attempted numerous times. But at the end of it, it's, what can you do for me? You're not doing what I want. To hell with you. Goodbye. And so as that's all kind of come around the merry-go-round of why my husband and I have never had a fight in over 25 years, but there is some things that are happening that we have been dealing with for a while now, over 6 months. And a lot of it, fair to say, has been put on me to take care of. Do you agree?
Yes.
And then other things happened. And I don't like seeing my husband hurt. I don't like seeing my daughter hurt or lied to. You were lied to. I don't like seeing any of this, especially when you break yourself in every way possible to help somebody. And it's happened multiple times. I'm pretty open talking about a lot of things, but I also don't want to give people who don't deserve it the credit by being quiet about it and saying, yes, you hurt me. Yes, you did wrong. I'm going to be silenced. I'm not going to tell my story, because silence is how these abusers win, because they're so afraid of stuff coming out. They're so afraid of the truth being told that they will fabricate, as we know, ridiculous crap just to try to make themselves in a higher light. And if you are silenced, you are giving in to them and giving them power, which I refuse to ever do again.
You are correct, Victoria. So, having said that, y'all, on our next episode
Oh, my Lord.
that will be conducted Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, and aired on Thursday, I will tell you the rest of the story. Okay? It will fill in all the gaps, all the hints will be unveiled. What I was looking for, y'all, is kind of a conclusion to the story, but
It's nowhere near over.
It tends to be dragged out, and we don't see an end in sight. It may be years, and I don't want to do that to my wife. I don't want to do it to me, and
or our daughter,
y'all,
or our daughter.
So we'll talk about a big family issue, and I know it's kind of cliche, but hey, maybe some of y'all going through the same thing. Maybe some of y'all have been through it, and we'd like to hear for what you did.
I just feel like when you go back, I was talking with someone this afternoon, trying to give them some guidance. They were going through some very traumatic stuff, and I was trying to provide them with some supportive ways, if you will, this afternoon. And they were telling me that, their family comes around only when they want something. And if they can't get it for whatever reason, to hell with them. Like that was the purpose of this individual reaching out to me. And it's heart-wrenching. It is, because you wonder, why is it that those other members of the quote unquote family, and blood does not make you family. DNA does not make you family, right? These people do not make you family. It's just not. They're not. But when you go through this and you see, you step back and you said, well, why is it all these other people, they get together with all the rest of their quote unquote family, and they go to birthday parties and they have holidays together, and we're singled out. We're kept away from it. And you know why we're kept away from it? We're kept away from it because we're the carriers of truth. We are the carriers of the real reality. We are the carriers of their kryptonite. We have the knowledge and the backing to destroy all of their lies. And so bringing us to a party is like putting kryptonite on Superman, right? So what do? Is they want to keep us far away so that we, A, can't tell everybody the truth, and B, they can continue to dismantle anything and everything that they can about us. And we're not there to defend ourselves, which also protects them at a whole different level.
I see where you come from with that. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be open about it. I don't think we really talked about this on air, honestly. I received a letter sometime back, a cease and assist letter, because my book, Narc Narc Who's There, ruffled the feathers of people that are DNA and bloodline to me. And the thing is that even an attorney was involved in it. And the thing is I was very careful with Narc Narc Who's There. I redacted photo faces and names, and all of the names were changed. But you can't dispute evidence, right? You can't deny evidence. You can't say, that's not me in that picture. That's not me with another woman. That's not me, kissy face with another woman in a hotel. That's not, whatever the individual remark is. That is my text message. Those are my phone. That's my email. That's this, that's that. And the book is completely 100% evidence based, right? And so getting this letter, I prepared my own statement back, right, to their attorney and just said, look, I went above and beyond to ensure. What are you looking at, babe?
Nothing.
What?
It's nothing. I'm looking at something behind you. Go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
I went above and beyond to ensure that they were protected, ensure that their, faces were never seen and that their names were hidden. And I made sure of that. And then, I went back and looked over everything, and I have never, and I don't recall, and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think I've
No,
ever,
wait. I can tell you you're wrong.
on this, have I ever said anything publicly about my brother that was wrong, that was rude?
No, you've already spoken kind words about him.
And I mean, he thinks that like, I hate him and I have all this ill will to him and all that. That's because he's heard such from his parents, and that's all they've heard. That's all he's heard. And so I went through and put all of this together, and it was a ridiculously large packet showing that even in Narc Who's There, I just picked maybe 10 or 15 different pages and just took out individual sentences and said, refer to page whatever, paragraph whatever, sentence, here it is, where I'm praising how smart he is, or, how he's never going to be able to do something because they won't cut the cord. And that's not his fault. Like, it's in there. It's not his fault.
Right.
And that I've wished him nothing but the very best.
That's true.
And I still to this day wish him nothing but the very best. I I hate that he only gets one side of it, and the side he gets isn't true, right? Like, I tried to put stuff in there that he would know. There was no way I would know had I not been told, because I'd been no contact, right? So how would I know these things? You know? And the fact that these things were said, and I said, if you want to challenge this, then, and you want to make a spectacle about it, then what happens is you have to prove, because the letter basically said that I need to cease and assist because it is portraying them. And I was like, well, that means they're identifying them as those characters. And if that's the case, then they have to prove that's not their cell phone, prove that's not them in the picture, prove that's not them in a hotel, right? Well, we have pictures of. But here's the thing. If you want to take that on and you're going to do that publicly, then I have the right to redact. I have the right to say
that you're going to redact your redaction.
Right. I would have to redact the redaction and say, I went through all these measures to make sure that your image was protected, right, but to show what was done. And I mean, I probably had another 400-500 different things to put in there, and I didn't. I mean, I've been asked, will I do a sequel to Narc Is There, because I have so much more that I could have added in, and it was a little to the point I felt like it was going to be overkill. So I was like, I don't think so. But I think the point was made.
It was.
And as soon as that was stated, that if they identify as those characters, then they have to prove. And if they do, then they need everything redacted, and then that becomes public knowledge. And if that's the case, then it's really going to come out. And the last thing I've ever wanted to do is anything that would hurt my brother. We don't speak, and that's due to his parents. And I've never wished him anything but the best. When I learned he was married, I wished him the very best in his marriage, and I hope he's happy. And, I've learned all about his husband from his parents during that little short few-week window that we spoke a while ago. And again, things I would never have known had they not told me. And the thing is that I have no ill will or animosity. I don't like how things are with him and I, but you know what? I'm not going to disrupt his happiness. He deserves to be happy. He does. And whether he believes that I mean that or not, I've never said anything derogatory about him. And I've never wished him anything but the best. I want him to be happy. He deserves it. He deserves to have someone who loves him the way that he deserves. And I mean that. So that is why people who have done the things that they do, I'm not talking about my brother. I'm talking about like narcissists. I'm talking about, abusers. I'm talking about people who, I mean, like a narcissistic parent does everything they can to keep the siblings separated. You're separated from both of your siblings. I'm separated from mine, right? And that is at the hands of the narcissistic parent, both of yours and both of mine. I mean, think about that. It's you've been kept away from yours and I've been kept away from mine, and it's all at the hands of the narcissistic parents. And it happens to girls and it happens to guys. I mean, the same thing happened to you.
You are correct, my love. I love my wife. She's freaking awesome, y'all. But she's spot on with these things. She began this conversation by saying that all she has is her word at times. And, she has to live up to what she says she'll do. And we've met multiple family members who have not lived up to their word. We find out a truth that we thought we knew was actually a lie. It was turned around and used in their benefit, in their favor, to manipulate us, one of us. And again, she spoke about the narcissist, and that's one of their traits. They twist the truth or a half truth, and to their advantage. And I grew up with that and didn't know it. I was so naive and thought, no, that's just the way Ma is. That's just the way things are. She don't mean no harm by it. And come to find out different. So the black sheep. I was telling our daughter Faith, I would say, babe, we're the black sheep here, both your mother and I. And I could not count on one hand solid, trustworthy friends. Like when Ben Affleck in that one movie, forgot what it's called, The Hood, the Brotherhood, or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not a Ben Affleck fan.
I need you to do me a favor.
I don't like Ben Affleck.
We're going to hurt some people. You can never ask me about it after tonight, and you can't tell anyone. I don't have that type of friend right now.
Thanks.
Other than my wife, my kick-ass wife, my guerrilla warfare assassin.
Whatever. I used to, but I've lost so many people.
Why?
No, I'm talking about like, okay, my best friend Kim that passed away, she was ride or die. Like,
well,
she would have, I mean, she was literally dying of cancer and wanted to go and find idiot. And I was like, no, I don't want that to be your legacy. No, I love that about her, but absolutely not. I've never had any involvement in anything like that. Like, I'm not sending anybody his way. No, absolutely not. Like, a very good friend of mine overdosed a few years ago, and he was literally, are you gonna eat a dog treat?
Is it?
It's a dog treat.
Okay. I'll save it for the dogs.
He would have done anything. He did. I mean, this is a guy who, when Faith was in the hospital in the NICU, and all the other times we were in the hospital, he would come and take my laundry and go home and clean it and bring it back and bring me something to eat because he knew I wasn't eating. And when I was having some procedures that I would have and go home the same day, he'd sit with her in the waiting area so she wouldn't be alone because nobody else went with me. So he would go and sit there, and he was her uncle, like her godfather. No matter what time of day or night I called him, he was always there and I was always there for him. And he's gone. I mean, I had probably 4 or 5 people that I've known for 20, 30 plus years that were like that in my life, and they've passed away, and it sucks. And the thing is that even though we're the black sheep, how many times has people in our family, both sides, called us out of the blue for just called us and said, our air conditioning is out, it's 90 degrees, or I don't care, you're giving this stuff away to survivors of domestic violence. I'm going through it and picking out what I want. I don't care. And just, or I need money because I don't have this, but I'm taking it from everybody else and nobody else knows about it. And I mean, and we always stepped up, always. But when Faith was in the hospital and they told us she wasn't going to make it, none of them, not one. And I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a broken record about this, but this is unforgivable in my eyes as a mother, as a human being, as a person. Not one person from either side of the family called or reached out. That is a kid. That is a beautiful little girl
Young lady.
who did nothing to them but love them.
Mm.
Nothing. And it wasn't advantageous for them. They weren't going to benefit anything out of it. So we got bullshit excuses like we didn't know what hospital you were at. Bull crap, because we've been in the same one, from day one. Or I didn't know. I think I texted you once. Are you kidding? Are you serious? Both sides of the family. And that hurt me at a level of non-repairment. Like that's not acceptable. That you can't come back from. We were in there 5 weeks. They told us we'll give her medicine and let her go comfortably, right? They said she's not going to make it. 5 weeks. She had over 25 operations, most at bedside because she was too fragile to even make it down to the ICU, from the ICU down to the OR. And y'all couldn't pick up a phone and make a phone call, a text, nothing, absolutely nothing. That is unforgivable. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. But then, when other things have happened, like I lost my arm. Again, both sides of the family, absolutely nothing. Nothing from either side. Your mom made the statement, well, she has one other hand. She could have called me. I mean, are you kidding? None of this is acceptable. When your brother got hurt on his RV, I hadn't even met him yet. And I was like, calling, what do you need? Sending stuff down every day. What do you need? How can I help? What can we were sending stuff to our nephew, your brother's son. And we need to go down there. Let's go. What do we need to do? Immediately. Because that's how it's supposed to be. But I mean, could you forgive anybody for them not even stepping up? And my husband has this thing that I'm kind of jealous of in a way, and kind of I'm not. He has this ability to flip a switch on people where he doesn't even care about them anymore and he just is done. And I hate it, but I also envy it a little bit because I hate that he has that ability. Because to me, and from someone who's done this for so long and had all my training in school and everything else, it's bad for you to have that because you need to process it. Even though you think you don't and you just kind of rid of it, you don't and you're not processing it. But could you forgive them for never even trying to see how Faith was, to never calling, texting, nothing? I mean, everybody was retired. There's no reason why nobody could have come up, right? Or sat with us. We would have opened our home and said you could stay there. They could have helped with, the dogs because you were going back and forth to take care of the dogs and stay there. And I never left up there. I stayed there. But not one thing was ever offered. Can you forgive either side for that?
Well, I haven't. One, that they haven't come. I think one of them may have attempted an apology, but it was not heartfelt and it was not genuine, and it just didn't hold water. So no, and there's still two prominent, well, one prominent woman in your life that has offended me.
And in fairness, instead of talking every day like I used to, or once in a blue moon, like monthly or whatever, it's gone down to once a year, if not twice a year at most. And a very stern conversation was stated. And I did get up and remove myself after I made my point and left. And an apology was given to me, but I didn't want it to go any further because I didn't want to hash up old wounds. And I mean, I went from literally talking almost daily to this person to seeing them maybe once a year. And that's because family members also of theirs that had nothing to do with it that I'm so close to.
It's sometimes it's very hard to forgive folks from saying, because those words may not be intentionally for you, but they cut at your heart because of who they said it about.
Right.
And that's what really gets me. When you have someone so innocent that didn't deserve whatever happened to them, and for someone to be so
Heartless,
heartless to say
cold,
something like that,
cunning, manipulative.
I'm like, oh my God, I never want to see you. I never want to speak to you again. I don't care who you are, you know? And it's, yeah. So if they ask me to forgive them, I mean, the Christian thing would be to say yes, you know, I forgive you, go about your way, have peace.
You can forgive them, but you just don't forget it, right? Like I have actually prayed for idiot many, 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 many times. I like because revenge is not mine to give. Revenge is not mine to seek. Now I am human and I'd like to hear about it. I'm only human, but I'm not going to go after it myself. But I like to hear about it if it happened. I'm not going to have any involvement in it. I'm not going to stir it up or create it or whatever. But I'd like to hear about it. I'm still human, right? But revenge isn't ours to give. And the thing is that some people cannot be forgiven for their actions. You can let it go, but that doesn't mean allowing them to come back in the picture because they're going to do it again. Right. And I know one of the things, like with your mother, I've said to her, to you, and I've said to her, and Faith said to her, she made promises to Faith here that she would never abandon her and she would be there with her. And she, you know, and then the whole thing happened with the survivors stuff. We had gotten a whole bunch of stuff from somebody as a donation, and we were giving them to a bunch of women and children that had literally just left with nothing on their back and it had already been coordinated. And she went ballistic over it. And so I said to you openly, I don't care if you want a relationship with your mother, that's your mother. And do you remember me when I told you that?
I don't remember when, but I remember you did.
Yeah. If you want a relationship with her, that's your mom, that's your choice. But I don't have to. And Faith doesn't have to, because when you say things to my child like that, you know, you can't treat my child one way and then expect to be treated a different way. And that's just true. I mean, if you want to have something to do with her, you have to be respectful of her parents. You have to be, I mean, just be respectful. And that's not it. And you and I are the kind of person, and we have said this across the board, that if any of them had called or texted, sent smoke signals, whatever, we would have been like, look, we could put everything to the side while this is happening, and we would have, because that is not the time nor the place to get in to any of the other stuff. But nobody did that. Nobody. I mean, even your brother that we helped after he got in that accident, nobody. I mean, no one
Yeah.
even reached out. And that's made it even harder, because anytime anything happens, I mean, like the last time we talked to your mom when she was that way, it wasn't how is Faith or how is Victoria or how are you, Michael? And I told you on the phone with her, I don't care if she doesn't ask about me, you know? But it wasn't how is Faith or how is Michael? It's, oh, I had to have this or I had to have this done. And we're not talking about like an appendix taken out or cancer surgery. It was like, oh, I got a mole removed or, something so tedious and small and, whatever in the scheme of things.
We call them mimes.
And they're just like, I know that God doesn't put more on our back than we can handle. And I think that's why I'm titanium, because I don't think I could carry the weight limit. But I know for a fact they couldn't have survived what that little girl went through. There's no freaking way. There's no way. Right. And we were carried through it. And I know that because I watched this little girl time and time again not want to wake up and code and seize and do all these things. And she's in that next room as feisty as all get out. And no one else could have gone through and endured what she did and be as positive an outlook life as she has. Life is too short. It is too short.
It brings up some horrible memories.
Yeah, it does.
Her in the hospital.
And it was at this time, too, a couple of years ago.
Mm.
But you know what? She has a great outlook on life. She has a positive outlook. She is happy. She is full of joy. What is their excuse for being ugly all day?
Again, it's all about me. Me, you know?
I mean, they justify being horribly, and you know what? They're unhappy. And it's their choice. You can choose to be happy. You could choose not to be happy.
I'm extremely happy with my wife, my daughter, and my 4 dogs in our little bitty home.
Hopefully, we're not going to be here that much longer.
We have we currently have minuscule, very little trauma drama, but we try to live our life trauma free.
Right. Because we don't like it.
No, it's disruptive.
It's unhealthy.
It gets in between the adults and the kids see it.
And here's the thing, as adults, it is our responsibility to prepare our children for the next phase of life. Like, that is our responsibility. That's what we're supposed to do. But when you talk negatively in front of the children, you're preparing that child's state of mind for what they're going to think and feel about those individuals, because they look at you like, oh, you're my mom, you're my dad, and I told my daughter, I was like, I will never tell you to hold yourself in the position that I am in with my biological parents. I want you to come up with your own, and I want you to decide on your own about them. I never said a word. If I ever heard them raise their voice to her, I immediately would bring her back and I would go handle it and say that's not acceptable. I am forever grateful for them that they let us live there. It wasn't cost free. Trust me, it was not monetarily free, but I am forever grateful for them for that. But did it come at a price? A hefty one, a life altering one. It sure did. But, at that time, I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I was taking care of my daughter. I mean, in that period of time, there was well over 100 surgeries just between the two of us in that period, between Faith and I. And you can't do anything with that in 25 therapies a week, right? You're just constantly implementing therapies and feeding and tube feeds and tracheostomy changes and, everything else. And it's a challenging thing. It really, really is. But adults shouldn't badmouth other people to young kids. They shouldn't badmouth it at all, right? And black sheep, we don't start the fire. We just try to defend it. Like, we will literally try to squash the lies about us and show the truth, which just infuriates the flame, really, because they don't want that. So they try to make us out to be these horrific people so that they're the better ones.
So my wife and I, we don't speak negatively to our daughter.
No.
Right?
No.
We do use the word no when we're training our puppies, our dog. But today alone, I bet I've told my daughter at least 3 different times that I love her.
And see, what I love about that is she has been on air and said, when she's done teen talk, she said, my family's never yelled at me. My parents, they've never yelled at me. They've never screamed at me. Like, unless we're upstairs and she's downstairs and we're like, hey, Faith, that's different. But when she has done something like she forgot to do a book report, but she has her phone, right? And we would go in there and say, have you finished your book report? No, I haven't. I don't want to do it. And it's like, you know what? I love you, but I don't like the choice you just made here. You should have done that. It was your responsibility to do it, and you chose not to. So you chose to not have your phone for the weekend because you made the choice to choose the phone over the book report, right? And so we would always say that. And instead of degrading and belittling them or her, we would say, I love you, but you chose. So I'm not taking the phone away from you. You're choosing to lose the phone for the weekend because you chose not to do what is your responsibility, and that's that book report. And doing it that way, has such a difference in the upbringing of kids because they don't feel like, why is it adults get to be the only ones who get a bad day? Why is it adults get to be grumpy and kids can't? Kids can't have a bad day. If a kid comes home from school and they were bullied or whatever, and they are having a bad day and they tell their parents, I had a bad day, I just want to go to my room. You don't go to your room. You come set this table and make the dinner and take out the trash and da. And then they start getting yelled at on top of the fact they've already been yelled at school, right? Give the kids a minute, just as you would want a minute if you went into your bedroom and you needed a minute to decompress. They can decompress too. Right? There are times where you're like, I've had such a hard day and I got stuck in traffic. Could you do me a favor and That's why you have teamwork, you know? And then just say, hey, why can't you set the table for dinner? I know you had a bad day at school. Why don't we have dinner? You tell me all about it. Because we don't allow electronics at the table. So there's no phones at the table, no hats at the table. And then we would say, hey, so you had a bad day. Why don't you tell me about it? I'm sorry. And then, Faith would say, I'm sorry I didn't get to set the table tonight. I had a lot on my mind, which we've heard this, a gazillion times. And it's okay. I said it. Dad cooked or defrosted it. Dad cooked it.
Wait a minute now.
And then you turn around
Bed.
and it's a frozen waffle. And then you turn around and say, hey, and at the end, I guarantee you, because she'll be like, I'll clean up. She does it every time.
Yeah, she does.
She'll be like, I'll do the dishes. Thank you. Thank you for doing this for me. I'm sorry. I just had so much on my mind right now. And there's a way to give and take because grown-ups have bad days too. Grown-ups get grumpy. These kids have the right to have those times too. And so think of it when they come home and they're having these bad days. Think of it as let that be me for a minute. Let her have what I would need if I was in her or his shoes for a minute. Let him go in there and decompress. Let him go in there and just vent and scream, go into a pillow and yell into a pillow, or, go doodle or draw or write or tear something up, a piece of paper, write something down and then tear up the piece of paper. And then we'll talk about it. And if I have to do the dishes or I have to set the table and cook, Faith would always say, hey, I'll clean up. Thanks for helping me. Let me help you. And it works. And our kids are happier because of it. It's showing respect. And in return, you get respect back.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That was very good.
Oh, thanks. Unscripted.
Very unscripted.
It's very unscripted.
We're never scripted.
No.
Are you going to be scripted with a ROM?
God, no. I'm so excited about that. It's like a little kid at Christmas. Open.
Mr. Mustabai.
You're finally getting it. And it's Amir. You said Aram. Aram was his actor name. I mean, his character name.
Blacklist.
He has a birthday coming up.
I don't know what he's produced in Broadway yet. I haven't looked it up.
Oh my God, he's in everything. I'm so excited. I'm like a little kid. I mean, seriously, he's co-hosting, and I'm just like, he's such. And you know what? Even if he was not Amir, which he's Amir, and he's been in all my favorite shows. He's just the nicest guy. Like he's so nice. And he's so genuine and fun.
You
and
can see it in his eyes. He's genuine.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm like so excited because, and I've talked to a lot of celebrities, a lot, and I'm never starstruck. I'm not starstruck with him. I'm excited because he's so nice.
No, you met Peanut Head, and he's got one of the biggest smiles.
Peanut Head?
Uh-huh.
Who's Peanut Head?
You call him Peanut Head because you saw him driving in downtown Atlanta.
You talking about The Rock?
Yeah. See? That attitude right there. Why? Because he was what?
No, we always give everything away. Like when Faith has anything, when she would get anything, when we did our Make-A-Wish, she gave all of her stuff, right? Every year we've done fundraisers, and every year we're like, is there one toy you want? No, you're giving me my Christmas wish. And we've raised between 200 and 400 toys a year. We filled our pediatrician's doctor's office. We filled facilities for long-term care. Just all sorts of, people that were in surgery because the hospital was going to get taken care of.
Right.
So we were offered tickets, and I don't remember the show because I blocked it out because I wasn't happy about it. It was filmed here in Atlanta, and it was kind of like, what was it? It was kind of like American Ninja or whatever. But The Rock, it was his show. It was The Rock show. And it was kind of like American Ninja, but it was kind of the same thing. And he had a very special VIP section, right? And we were given tickets. And so she used to have a mad crush on The Rock, like mad crush, right? And so it was arranged that she was going to get to meet him and see him and talk to him. And you don't understand. Mom, now this is funny if you know Faith, because Faith is the biggest tomboy ever. Mom, I have to get my nails done. I have to get my hair done. I have to get a dress. I have to find accessories to match the dress. I have to find my earrings. I have to find this and this, right? I mean, toity to no end. And she's like, I can't wait. Oh my God. So excited. I called up. Luckily, I called up. I called down there and I was like, we have VIP tickets. How does this work? Oh, you come to the studio, you park in this parking section, and then we bus you over. You have to be here by this time and you get seated first, blah, 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 right? Well, then they said she had to be over a certain age. And I was like, but she's not over that
Hmm.
age. Well, she can't sit in the VIP section. What? And I was like, I see contestants run up and hug their significant other and their kids. And they're like, right, but they're not right there. The VIP section is like basically on the floor. And
Right.
so there's a possibility that they could get hurt, somebody could get hurt, whatever, whatever. And I was like, well, what if we didn't go to the VIP and we just went and so she could meet him and then we'd leave?
Right.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how we have everything set up. That's not, nope, that's not how it works. She was so devastated. The way I told her about these tickets is I spent like, I don't even know how much, and got her a life size. You remember this? I got her a life size picture of The Rock
Yeah.
and I had it in her bedroom and I surprised her. I mean, the thing looked real. She walked in and she almost crapped on herself when she saw it. And she ran up and in his hand was a envelope that I had taped on there and it was the tickets to go and see him. And this little kid was so excited to meet The Rock. I mean, she was elated. And this kid never, and you know this, never asks for anything, ever. And I was so honestly mad at myself because I got the tickets from the children's hospital. So I thought, okay, we're all good, right? Fine, no worries. I see kids on the show where they're hugging their dad or mom that are contestants. So I was like, okay, I don't see an issue. So I just called before we went to say, how does this work? You know, blah, blah, blah. We're VIP, whatever. And to find out she couldn't sit there because her age, I was so upset with myself that I even presented her the tickets, that she even knew about it, because I had to go and break her heart and tell her she couldn't meet her idol, which was The Rock. And to this day, she's never met him. Right. And he used to live like 10 minutes from us. Seriously. Like
That's
we
pretty.
used to see him on his motorcycle at red lights and stuff. And she'd be so cute. She's like, oh, my hair's not done. Mom. I'm like, he's at a red light across the street. Mom, oh my God, look at me. I can't be seen like this. I'm like, I promise he's not seeing you. He doesn't see you. You know, but the thing is that this is a beautiful little girl, right? And so, yeah, no, no. So, no, I've never been starstruck about any of that. I mean, we've talked to a lot of really big celebrities, and to me, they're just like you and me. Well, no, I can't say that. They're just like you and Faith. Y'all put your clothes on the same way. I don't because I'm one handed. So I can't put my clothes on the same way as y'all do anymore. But we're all the same person. Just some people have bigger paychecks. There's some people that if you, excuse me, if you said, babe, this person really wants to come on the show, they really want to come on. Certain people, I have a list. Certain people, no way in God's green creation. Nope.
And then there's some Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves, Jason Statham.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned him before we go. I want to tell you something. I saw an interview with him,
Uh-huh.
and I've always had such respect for him as a former martial artist.
Sure.
He has been dating the same girl for like a long time. I don't want to misconstrue the dates, but it's a long, long time. They have kids together, right? She's much younger. And they asked, why don't we ever see you hugging other women, like at premieres
Uh-huh.
or fans? And he says, I don't touch another woman. He says, he has two other brothers. And he said, I do not walk up and hug fans. I do not go up and kiss a fan, a female on the cheek or whatever. I if I'm standing next to somebody at a premiere, and I've noticed that in a lot of pictures, if he's standing next to a woman in a premiere, he always has his hands in his pockets, right? And they asked him, why do you do that? And he says, it's out of respect for my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and you realize he's normally out of the limelight. Like he's not really in the limelight
Right.
very much. And he says, it's because I try to have a Hollywood free personal life. And I have so much respect for my partner that I make sure that there's never a question of loyalty and respect for her. And I was like, oh, that just
Right.
magnified the respect I had for him. Right. But I'm telling you, there is a list of people that if you said, babe, they reached out, they want to come on, I would say no. I wouldn't even contradict or contemplate is the word I'm looking for. I wouldn't even contemplate. I'd be like, this is not up for discussion. Absolutely not. And I bet many people would be surprised who's on the list. But I'm just saying, there is a list.
Well, we look forward to having Amir on our show
I am like a kid at Christmas.
because he was genuinely a nice person.
I did have someone ask me, do I think Amir or Scott Hamilton's going to be the nicer?
Oh,
That's tough. I don't know because I haven't interviewed Amir and we're not really interviewing. We're co-hosting together.
right.
We've had lots of interactions with another, like in messaging and text and videos and things like that. Scott Hamilton's pretty stand-up nice too, but I think they win it individually in their own way.
Yeah.
But we'll let you know after the recording.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Continue to listen to Continue to Smile, Unstoppable with Victoria and Michael.
my husband's falling asleep
I can't, I am. I'm full from that salad. I had a big old salad, y'all.
with nasty stuff in it.
What? Had cheese?
No, that's not the nasty
Black
stuff. You had
olives?
black. Ugh,
You don't like black olives.
so nasty.
I'll make them green next time.
No, I don't want olives at all. Gross. Gross.
Thank y'all for listening.
Say bye.
Bye, y'all.